Boom, and we're live. Thank you so much. Welcome back to Polybius, uncovering the metaverse in hospitality. With me today, there are two friends that have been in the show a few times already. On my metaverse right, I have Vincent. Thank you, Vincent, for staying with us today.
Always a pleasure, Simona. Thank you for the invite.
And on my metaverse left, I have another Italian directly from Amsterdam, Sergio. Hi, Sergio.
Yes, indeed. Thank you very much, Simone. Hi.
Okay, guys. This is going to be an intimate one. We're very close to high tech, so we keep it a little more confidential. But there is something that I would like to tell you before we start. As you can see from this two frames, we publish the Metaverse glossary, the Web3 glossary that we worked on with all the Polybius evangelists. It's titled The Definitive Web3 Glossary. And it's now official because I had some, ping pong back and forth with the publisher. But it's official. We will have around 500 copies at High Tech in Toronto next Monday. And we will give these copies for free to everyone that is interested in knowing more about Web3. So if you're in Toronto, if you're at High Tech, you can just go by a Hospitality Net stand and ask for a free copy of the Definitive Web3 Glossary. And again, I want to thank all the Polybius evangelists for making this possible. It's a collection of 200 terms related to metaverse, artificial intelligence, Web3, decentralization, blockchain. And it's been a collective work of all the people involved in the project. So I'm very thankful to all the Polybius evangelists. And of course, this would not have been possible without the help of HFTP that sponsored the book, and that is why you can take your free copy in Toronto. Okay, so again, thanks to all the Polybius evangelists, and if you're in Toronto, just go by and pick your own copy. And after Monday, the book will be available on Amazon as well, so you can buy it. And we're trying to keep the cost as low as possible, just to make sure we can cover the printing costs. So if I remember correctly, this should be somewhere around $3, $3.50, something like that, for the paperback version. So again, if you're in Toronto, pick your copy. If you're not, starting from Monday, you can get your own copy at around $3.50. Directly on Amazon. So before we start, Vincent and Sergio, today it's only the three of us, so it's going to be a little quieter than usual. Maybe we can take an extra minute to introduce yourself properly. That's something that I'm never able to do when we do these kind of things, because usually we get 20 people in the room. So Vincent, can you explain in a few words what you do, what your company does, and your connection to Web3 and or hospitality?
Yeah, sure thing. Thanks, Simon. So originally, I'm a hotelier by heart. I worked in hotels. I worked for W Hotel reopenings in Amsterdam, where I'm originally from. I worked for Hilton, Waldorf Astoria hotels, both in the US and also in the Netherlands. I have an academic background of hospitality, so I did hotels for The Hague back in Amsterdam. Did a master, also specialized in hospitality. So I guess you can say hospitality really runs through my veins. I guess a kind of a tunnel vision sometimes, but it keeps me focused. And I currently work with Gain Advisors, where I had the AI hotel service pack, where we in that fact advise hotel groups in their offerings and advise them what AI solution can be enhanced through operations or back systems. And then I also work with Travel Curious, which is a tour and experience company back in the UK where I developed their sales strategy to boost ancillary revenues in hotels. And I also have my own company, a small company that focuses on getting expats and digital nomads immigrated to Spain seamlessly through technology. So that's more or less what I'm what I'm about. Thanks so much.
Well, no problem. And again, I don't think we ever had the time to introduce our panelists properly. So yeah, Sergio, can you tell us what you do, the company you work for, and your connection to hospitality and slash or hospitality? And in the meantime, I see that Luca joined. Luca is not only a friend, is a Polybius evangelist as well. So Luca, if you're not busy, you can just sit next to us, and you can answer a couple of questions on just feel free to join us. Sergio, tell us a little more about yourself.
Sure.
Yes, thank you, Simone. Nice to meet you, everyone. I'm Sergio Schmeil. I'm Italian, but living in Amsterdam since about 10 years. I've been working as a developer and engineer for technology companies. Currently, I'm a creator of immersive digital spaces, also known as the Metaverse, and I'm specialized in the platform from Meta, Horizon Worlds, but is not yet fully released. In the meantime, I'm working on SDKs and APIs from different vendors to implement on direct applications, so to speak. And of course, AI models. So I'm generally on GPT. I'm working on API, and also for my own day-to-day life, I would say I use ChatGPT. As a hobby, I play esports now recently in VR. So it's a new game recently open. It's very popular. I use 3D printer accessories to get the most out of it. And so I'm joining the process.
Okay, so today's episode is very, very much aligned with what you do, because we're talking about generative AI, especially in the field of the hospitality space. Luca, thank you for joining us. You're here now, so tell us a couple of things about yourself, and then we can start.
Sure. Thank you so much for inviting me to sit with you. Actually, sorry if you heard some noise, but I just left the office, so sorry about that. So
no problem.
Yeah, I'm Luca Lupatelli. I work for Hexagon Geosystem. That is like a division of Hexagon. We basically develop technology, so software and hardware that allow people to develop digital realities, basically. We work with many industries, and hospitality is just one of them. So we are really specialized on digital twinning stuff and simulation. I'm a project manager, and I'm passionate about anything related to the metaverse. So, and I'm very happy that I'm part of this panel today. Actually, thank you, Simone, for everything you're doing in the space, really.
Oh, thank you, guys. The only thing I'm doing is just connecting people. So that's you're bringing the value. Okay, so basically today's episode is coming after the panel that we published yesterday, and the main idea started with a conversation I had with Michael, and I think this was Michael Cohen idea, and he told me, because last time, if you remember, we talked about generative AI in general. So we talk a little, of course, about ChatGPT and the possible application in the travel industry. And the time with Michael, we started talking, and he said, it would be interesting to make an episode about the impact of AI in the metaverse. And I think it's a pretty under-discussed topic, especially in our industry, right? So I will start with the main question. That is, in your opinion, what could AI do to the metaverse to make it better, to make it more efficient, to make it more scalable? And most of all, do you think there is some kind of connection, some kind of synergy between AI and the metaverse? And I will start with Sergio.
Yeah, thank you. No, indeed, I think it's a great point. Yeah, I think in general, any innovation at the moment, it really complements with each other, as we are seeing. So all the technologies that are now growing for the immersive technology, let's say the headset, then yeah, metaverse experiences, the generative AI models that are accessible to everyone. I think the convergence, let's say, of all those technologies is creating a lot of value for the end user. So more practically, I would say, yeah, it makes it easier and better in general. So how? There are tools that users can use whenever they connect to a platform or an experience. And those tools basically gives you the possibility of providing a prompt, similar to what we see on ChatGPT. For example, Ready Player Me is testing two prompts to create any type of print on clothes. So it's already something we can do. And in general, yeah, it's, I would say the synergy is between the growing in general. One pushes the growth of another, because generative AI by itself doesn't create as much if it's not in part of an ecosystem that he can train, can receive data, and then can improve the ecosystem itself.
So Michael always says that I'm the king of the long questions, but Michael is not here today, so I'm going to ask you a long question anyway, because that really resonates with me, and it's very aligned with my perception of tech. And I was talking to a friend the other day, and we were talking about that over the last probably a couple of years, it looks like technology started to work as you said, towards a shared goal in a way, right? And it looked like up until that point, technology used to work in silos. So you had like AI, and it was mainly on the academic field or military field, or to a certain extent to the business field. And then you had like the extended reality or spatial computing or metaverse, call it what you like, on the other side. And all these technologies, they were working pretty much in silos. And over the last few years, they started converging, and to a point where I don't even know if it's still worth talking about all these different technologies or talking about like a new iteration of the internet as we know it, right? And I always make the example, and I don't know if you think this can fit with your take on the topic, but I always think that this is a pivotal moment, exactly like back in 07. And if you remember, like the Steve Jobs presentation, iconic marketing presentation of the first iPhone, right? Now, if you look back at it, you will see that at its core, the iPhone was not so innovative. The great idea of Jobs was to take several technologies that were really mainstream and put them all in one single device, right? So before the iPhone, you had to bring a digital camera, and you had to bring an MP3 player, maybe two MP3 players if you were into music like me, and so forth. And now you have everything into one single device. And I think that was the genius idea. All these different technologies in one single device. And I think that this is exactly what is happening with the metaverse, with AI, with spatial computing, with extended reality, with all these kind of technologies, that they are all working to the same goal now. And what this goal will be probably still not clear, But to me, that will be just a different and an evolution of the internet, right? Sergio, do you think you can agree with this?
Yeah, no, 100% agree. I really like whenever someone gives the example of the iPhone, because I believe we have so many, I would say, iPhone moment in the recent years. For sure, yeah, I would say Metaverse has an idea of convergence, let's say, of all the technologies, all the businesses, all the usage, and having it in one, let's call it, place, then yeah, can be defined as a similar breakthrough in technology or in the way we use technology. I would say another thing I want to add also on it was a very much I would say equivalent is also the App Store release from Apple, and actually the App Store idea fits also in my view nowadays. So the App Store indeed is bringing the creators or developers at that time was called all together in one ecosystem, or at least in a network maybe of ecosystems, as a metaverse will tell, theoretically that everything is interconnected as much as possible. So I think, I would say the convergence of technologies and the creators economy are the two biggest breakthrough that actually we saw at that time, basically with the iPhone and the App Store.
Yeah, Vincent, let's go. I want to ask you something, and so I think we all agree that we're living this, let's call it iPhone moment with Gen AI and Metaverse and so forth, right? Now let's try to go a little deeper and on a more pragmatic level. Where do you see AI helping the Metaverse? Could it be more into the building of the words part, into creation of non-player character, smart avatar assistant? Where do you see AI and Metaverse meeting? Of course, when it comes to the business space.
Yeah, sure thing. I mean, I think you can relate it back to large language models that you see now being influenced by generative AI or the other way around, right? Whereas it would take you maybe a day or two to create a perfectly nice presentation of 20 slides for a conference that you're going to talk to. You can now do that within a minute, and you can get literally a minute. You can get a decent layout. You can edit some stuff. You can cut down 2 days of work to a minute, literally. There are particular apps that do this right now. One of them is called Gamma. They're a startup. You enter some information, and it gives you an entire presentation for you, including AI imagery, generative AI. So what my point being is that this can also happen for metaverse or immersive experiences, right? You provided a certain prompt, right? And the AI can provide the design or even avatars or the content that is being shown, just like we see here in spatial, that is perfectly aligned with your brand standards and your vocabulary, what you use. So what I think there's a lot of efficiencies to be gained from implementing AI in growth generation or metaverse immersive technologies. So yeah, definitely that's going to help, I think. And in terms of if you're talking about business or hotel specific examples, I can already think of virtual prototyping of hotels that are in development. You can show around investors, but I guess we're going to talk about that later in this episode. Yeah.
I like from time to time to use quotes from all the other Polybius evangelists, and this is coming straight from the viewpoint we published yesterday, and this is from Eli, right? And she said something that is very aligned with what you're saying, Vincent. And this is AI elevates the bottom so that creativity can actually become the currency. And I think she has a point. And I even can see it like on a personal level. ChatGPT can do so many entry-level tasks for me so that I can focus more on more important stuff. And do you think that this will, in a way, democratize the metaverse in a way that, first of all, it will be cheaper for businesses to get into the metaverse because they will not have to develop everything from scratch. And second of all, do you think that this will give more time and space to creators to think about let's say the big picture, the creative big picture, rather than focusing on small dev details? What do you think, Vincent?
Yeah, I mean, again, king of the long questions, right? But no hurry. I think the first question I'd like to address as, you know, I think it's so good that we now have, you know, artificial intelligence that can complement Metaverse and what we've seen the latest, you know, the last months. And the reason why is that it's going to remove the hurdle for a lot of people to get into the metaverse. It becomes way more simpler, way more easy, I think, to enter metaverse and to make use of it, right? Because, you know, you and I both know that the metaverse technology is far from being you know, super user friendly. There's a lot to improve. And that can make it technically difficult for first-time users to explore the benefits. But this is definitely going to help. And I think, you know, what the kind of users you're going to see is going to be way different with AI than without it.
That makes sense. Okay, Luca, I see you're back. So in your view, where do you see that AI can be more beneficial for the metaverse? You also think it's a question of scalability and democratization of the metaverse, reducing costs, or do you think that there's something else, at least in the very short future, that AI can do to make the metaverse better? Okay, Luca, I don't know. Can you hear us or not? Luca? Okay, we probably lost Luca. Okay, so I'm asking this question to Sergio, okay?
Can you repeat it? Sorry.
Sure. So do you think that when it comes to what AI can actually do for the metaverse, scalability, of course, is a big topic, you know, and democratization of the metaverse and removing entry barriers to the metaverse is another one. Do you think there's any other examples that we can see where AI and the metaverse can work together, at least in the, let's say, in the near future? So I would say over the course of the next couple of years.
Yeah, no, sure. I think the biggest benefit in that sense is anyone can actually create autonomously, almost, his own experience, let's say. So an experience tailored to what they need, maybe a prototype. So essentially, yeah, you can just sell what you need and you have it ready to experience. So I think this one is basically cost reduction for iterations on ideas or visions. So that I really like this aspect. I would say in general, I really like what you showed before, like what you said before, the democratization, more like that anyone can create, even without knowing any say requirements or the technology behind programming. So yeah, I think this is the first aspect I can think of.
And I love that because, you know, when we think of the internet, for example, we really don't care about the infrastructure, right? So if you go to a client and you ask they ask you for a website, they don't care how you're building the website, right? Nobody will ask you a question about, the basic infrastructure of the website. It's more about the creativity of the website, right? And the user experience. Then all the tech details are almost an afterthought. And I think that with AI, we can actually go to that direction with the metaverse as well, because basically what we can do is we can get rid of all the tech BS. It's not BS, but I would say that for the average entrepreneur, that is not so relevant. It's not even that important. Yeah. And I really like this quote that you see on your back now. This is coming from Eduardo, and he says that AI serves as a regulator because it brings people together by breaking barriers. And this can be seen on so many different angles, but I think one of the angles is, look, you want to be part of this game? It's like the 90s all over again. You don't need to be a dev. You just can do it. And all the small technical stuff can be done by AI, right? I don't know if we got Luca back. Luca, can you try to talk?
Can you hear me?
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now. Yep.
I'm sorry, guys. I was struggling switching from my iPhone to the laptop, so I think sorry for the mess.
No problem. But you see, in like if you had like an AI driven digital twin, he could have talked for you, right?
Yeah, I think the AI is going to be really at the basic, at the fundamental of the space, because even creating digital twins, it requires some kind of AI. Even what happened if you want to enter the data, if you want to enter the assets with your avatars, right? What happened within that asset? You have to simulate the space. And I'm thinking right now, what happened for the industrial metaverse, where things need to be simulated, need to be precise, need to be really aligned with the real world, and need to be eventually connected. What happened virtually with what happened, physically. There, the AI is going to be crucial. It's going to be important, right? And there are many applications where the AI would be very basic, right? Let's think about the military metaverse, for instance. There, like armies need to train into a virtual space that replicate exactly the condition, the weather condition of the real world, or, for instance, even the condition in the streets, or things like that. That is going to be important for that specific application. And if we talk about, the tourism, for instance, if you want to offer, it's an exact representation of the real world and let people experience the beauty of a space, right, or of a place, in order to convert them, because you want to let them go in physically, right? Then the AI can support on the creation of the beauty of the space and simulate how the condition of the weather, or how the condition of the digital twin are. So the AI is really important. I think also about the reality capture, right? When we capture the world with a scanner, or when we capture the world with some kind of camera, right? And we have to place them virtually, AI will support building those things up, right? Democratizing the space. So it's going to be easier for, I'm thinking, every time that I think about the democratization of the metaverse, I think about also small businesses, right? Today, for small businesses, it's completely difficult, almost impossible to build up spaces, because it costs money, it takes time, it doesn't convert. So I think it's going to be very important to empower the creativity, even of small business, in order to jump into the space. And this is where I think it's going to be important, even for people to understand how the AI works and what they can do with the AI. I don't know if this is answered a bit,
Totally. And on top of that, I cannot tell you the name of the client, but I'm working with a client that created this beautiful digital twin. And a good part of the digital twin is an AI model that does exactly what you were saying. So basically, it does take information about weather condition and changes the environment based on the weather condition. So this is great. In hospitality, this is great because we can really have this sense of reality that you do not have with a non-AI fueled metaverse. To the point that this is something that Luca said, and it's on your back right now. He says something in the terms of handmade metaverses will eventually be the minority. Would you guys agree with this statement?
I think a degree of handmade, I would say, is always necessary. I think it would be not really realistic to say that like without handmade, like you really always need an expert and someone that will be able to do it manually. But yeah, it accelerates the process using the AI. I have experience with a lot of creators, a lot of builders on a platform, and it's you have to be almost a digital architect. You have to know the proportions. So I'm not that on that technical. So if I have a commission that is to build something that requires that skill, I don't know if I had generative AI. For sure, the process would be very, very fast, but I wouldn't be able to do it everything by myself. I don't think, not even in the future. I'm not sure.
I'm looking at the group. Look like much everyone focused on the fact that AI can actually reduce the burden of human work and to a certain extent reduce costs and make the metaverse scalable. I'm reading a few of those. This is from Michael, and it says AI will significantly reduce the burden on human developers and artists. Totally agree with that. And there was another one that I really like. Was this? This is Adam Mojalonsky, a great guy, one of the best minds when it comes to hospitality and Web3, in my opinion, and a friend of mine. And it says AI is the only way to build something of scale on a reasonable timeline and without hemorrhaging costs. And I think he said it perfectly. And he said something that probably we were missing. That is this reducing the costs, but is also doing something else. Is speeding up the creation of works. And this is always a problem because, like creating a space is very time consuming. And AI could actually make it easier and make it quicker. So would you agree that because when I look at this statement, it looks like the main application of AI in the metaverse right now is cutting costs, making the space more democratic, making sure that even the little small business can actually enter the metaverse without having to put out like a tremendous budget. Would you agree with that?
To me, Simone? Is the question to me, Simone?
So whoever wants to answer.
I think just for my take, since I work as an engineer, there is a lot we don't see on the back end, and is not really generative AI, but it's still, I would say, artificial intelligence. So there is I think it's going to be the main value, the artificial intelligence on the generative and creation side, but also businesses should look into using artificial intelligence for their own back-end processes. It's a bit more complex, but there is also that word.
Yeah, I don't know if I can chime in. I can chime in that, Simone. I just have a thought about the AI. Just looking back, at what was the process of the evolution of the internet, moving from Web 1.0 to Web 2.0. If you think about it, at some point in the history, CMS happened, right? And CMS, like WordPress, like allowed people that are not like super skilled, to create a blog, to create a website, to create content by their own, right? But
that's exactly my point. Look, that is exactly my point. Sorry if I interrupt, but look, if I read a blog on Medium, I don't care if it's Medium. I care because of the content, right? And I think that to a certain extent, we will reach a level where the underlying technical infrastructure of the metaverse will be an afterthought. Exactly what you're saying. You don't care about the CMS. You care about the content. You care about the user experience and so forth. So sorry if I interrupted you, but I tend to forget stuff. So go on.
No, you made right. Don't apologize. So it was just following what I was just saying. Really, I mean, I feel that AI will support that process really, from the same process that we experienced it, moving from a web where people needed a webmaster doing everything, doing SEO, coding the website, and doing everything. And then with the Web 2.0, with the CMS, people were empowered, right, to do more stuff. And then today, with the Metaverse and Web3, the AI will support, democratizing that process with the creation of 3D objects and with the creation of the space, with the simulation, the AI will support doing that. So it's a similar process, because people need to be empowered. People don't need to be scared about the new technology. So that's what I think about that, really.
Vincent, let me go back to you, because I think we're coming to the main aspect of the conversation, and it looks like, again, from all you guys wrote in the panel yesterday and all the exchanges that we're having today, is that the main word is democratization and scalability of the metaverse, right? And I'm seeing, like, on your back, you can see some of the quotes. This is Salman, for example, saying, with AI, building a metaverse will become 100 times easier. I don't know, probably it's not 100% accurate, but I totally agree with Salman, another very smart guy when it comes to Web3. And the value of AI in transforming visions into products is undeniable. Oh, that is actually Sergio. Okay, that's good. I didn't even remember. But that's good. That's a very good. Okay, let's make this one, Sergio, so you're here. So, Vincent, would you say that if you had to just say the last few words about it, would you agree that, at least for now, the main convergence of the two technologies is in scalability, democratization, and breaking barriers of entrance for small business trying to enter the metaverse?
Yes, 100%. I think you can relate it back to a car. The car being the metaverse and AI being the motor. AI is going to be the V6 motor that the car has been waiting for, right? The car is still going to get from A to B, but it's going to be a lot more agile. It's going to be a lot more fast. Acceleration is going to be faster. It's going to be sure. It might be some AI tools or some metaverses that are driven by AI. They might be a little bit more expensive. We'll see about that. We'll let the companies figure that out. But I definitely think it relates to that. It's just going to be more agile, I think. It's going to remove those barriers, what we've been talking about, Simone. So yeah, I fully agree indeed.
And would you agree with the connection that Luca made, the analogy with CMS? Just because I think it's pretty fitting. Do you think that to a certain extent AI can be some kind of CMS in the metaverse, in the sense that it can make people without tech skills or with very limited tech skills just decide one day to open up a metaverse, exactly like today my grandmother can wake up and open up a blog Would you agree with that, Vincent?
Yeah, for sure, and that's definitely going to be hand in hand with digital twins of yourself, right? The more you get, the more personal I think digital twin will be. The more you're longing for creating an environment that also resonates with you, right? Like for instance, this metaverse, right? The spatial, this immersive experience. It's nice and it's well designed, but it's not my space, right? It's not my but I'm fine with that because this avatar also doesn't really represent me. But the more the digital twins of yourself also develop, and the more I guess the digital twins of businesses develop, I think you're going to see a lot more resonation with avatars, with digital twins, and therefore the metaverse. It will be a more personalized experience, I think. That AI will bring to the metaverse.
Okay, that's great, guys. Thank you so much for being with me today. I would like just to ask you the last round, where you say how people can get in touch with you if they want to. And before we do that, I would like to end up with this quote. It's one of the quotes that I really liked about the panel that we published yesterday. This is from Francesco, and he said, "AI transform possibilities into realities." And I think it's not either dramatic, but I can agree to that. And again, I think that for a lot of people, especially small businesses, and when we talk about hospitality, especially in Europe, we're mainly talking about small hotels, independent hotels. They don't have a lot of budget. Some of them are still struggling to get a proper website, let alone a proper metaverse, right? So I really like this quote, and this is what I would like to use as the ending of the episode. So first of all, I want to apologize for the noise. As you may have understood, in a little holiday break, and the noise you hear is kids playing in the pool. But there's one last thing I want to tell you before I give you back the words, guys, and that is, again, as I said at the very beginning of the episode, if you're in Toronto, if you're at high-tech, we're giving away 500 copies of the Web3 glossary that we wrote with all the panelists. So make sure to go to the Hospitality Net booth and pick your own copy. If you're not in Toronto, or if the copies are gone by the time you get to the stand, starting from next Monday, you will be able to buy these on Amazon at pretty much at printing costs. We're trying to make it as democratic as possible. Okay, so again, go to the booth, Hospitality Net, High Tech Toronto on Monday. Get your free copy. If you cannot, this will be available starting from Monday directly on Amazon. Okay, guys. So I'm giving the word back to you. Just tell me in a couple of words, how can people get in touch with you if they want to? So let's start with Luca.
Yes. So yeah, I mean, if somebody wants to get in touch with me, I think LinkedIn is the best way to do so. You can find me typing Luca Lupatelli, and yeah, happy to answer to any question. And yeah, I think that's it, right, Simone? There was another question that I should ask for.
That was the question. Just I want people to make sure they can get in touch with you. And thanks again for joining. So it's always a pleasure to get some Polybius evangelists just dropping by the room. Vincent, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
Yeah, very simple. Just like Luca, on LinkedIn or through gainadvisors.com, where we help hotels with implementing AI. But yeah, LinkedIn is the best, I think. Thank you.
And let's
Yes, Simone, thank you. Same here. LinkedIn is the best way. Thank you so much, Simone, for the talk. It was really interesting and valuable.
Well, thank you so much, guys. And again, sorry for the background noise. Again, if you're in Toronto, just go by the stand, pick up a copy of the Web3 glossary. We're giving away 500 copies for free. Thank you, Luca. Thank you, Vincent. Thank you, Sergio. We will talk again next month, probably from a different location. I cannot tell you much more from now, but I will be able to tell you a little more in the next few weeks. From now, I thank you. Thank you to all the speakers. Thank you to the people listening to this or watching this or being here with us as avatars. Enjoy the rest of the week. Have a great high tech in Toronto, and we will meet next month. Thank you so much. Bye, guys.
Thank you, Simone.
Thank you, guys. Enjoy your vacation, Simone.